Cool. And yeah, I talked to Don Wilson earlier today too. So it's really cool to see you guys work together again. How was it, with you two reuniting on screen?
And what was that? How what?
How much fun was it to work with Don the Dragon Wilson again?
Oh my gosh, it was great. It's kind of like you just look forward to every day because we're such good friends. I mean, actually, Don has been one of my longest friends out of all the martial art people because we were going to martial art events even before we were doing film stuff. He's like one of my longest old time friends.
Cool, nice. What about this particular project? The martial arts kid. Did you like when they first brought it to you?
Well, when they first brought it to me, James Wilson told me before he even had the script written. And he said he wanted to do a family picture, and I've always wanted to do like a family action picture. At one point I thought, when I had my daughter, I wanted to do a little kids martial arts show on TV. So it's always been in my mind that I wanted to, reach younger audiences. And when he had the idea, it was great. And then he said, well, you're going to play a mom. And I was like, oh, that's even better because I've never, played a mom in any of my films, and I could relate to it, now that I have a daughter. Mm-hmm. And then, we started talking about what the message was dealing with, bullying, and that it had heart, and that, it wasn't going to be like, the Karate Kid, where, it was more all realistic, all real training, nothing silly, and, the boy just learns enough to be able to defend himself against bullies. He doesn't learn, like, really quick and become, the world champion and beat the best person in the world.
Yeah, it's just a little bit unrealistic how that happened all the time in the Karate Kid movies.
Right.
Because you know how much training goes into to being a real martial artist too. So
exactly, and he only makes it to green belt. He doesn't even make a black belt. He makes it, which is still kind of a beginning level martial artist.
How is it? How does it feel to be? You're doing these roles now where you're not in this one specifically, you're in the background as opposed to being in the foreground, but you and Don are like mentors to this kid. How was that transitioning into those roles in addition to still being center screen in other pictures?
I like to act. I don't care what it is. It's like, front ground, foreground, whatever. I just like to work. And it doesn't matter, like, what role. I just finished a cameo with Sean Stone, who is Oliver Stone's son, called Enter the Fist, and it's a comedy spoof, and it was just like, they were like, hey, will you make a cameo? And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, and it turned out to be one of the funniest scenes ever. I was laughing so hard, and, that's another thing I wanted to do is comedy, and I think, like, to me, it doesn't really matter. I just love working, so, no ego here.
Are you surprised ever by people in Hollywood or in the acting community coming up to you that you wouldn't expect to say, hey, I really love your work and just want to talk to you about it?
Oh, yeah, I was just talking about this the other day because, I went and saw the Chris Angel show in Vegas. Someone sent me a message saying, oh, he likes martial arts and he knows who you are. And I was like, really? And it's almost kind of like I think nobody really knows who I am. And, the first time I met James Cameron, he came up to me and he says, I love your work. And I was like floored. I was like, you know my work, And like Chris Pratt was on the MTV Awards and he got an award for best action hero or something like that. And he thanked me as one of the people to be an inspiration for action, And I'm like, I think probably because I haven't been in any A-listed movies. I think the only people that really know me are kind of like martial art people or something like that. But when I get that from the entertainment industry that, that I look at as top of the line, I'm really honored, So I feel, I do. It really makes me feel good, when someone does know that. And I'm still like pushing away trying to get that A-listed project somewhere.
It'll happen. I'm so full of
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
How has your workout regime changed, if it has? Do you do things differently now than you would, say, 20 or 30 years ago as far as your daily workout regimen?
Yeah, my workout has really changed because when I was, then competing, I was doing martial arts every single day. Now I've become like almost an extreme adventurous. I trekked to base camp of Everest, on Everest. I just came back from doing an 8-day trek in the Canadian Rockies. In October I'm doing Machu Picchu, the Inca Trail, and I think what I have become is I still work out, I still do martial arts, I still go to the gym. I like to do cardio, but the biggest thing is that now my really true love is getting out kayaking and rappelling in caves and going down waterfalls, water rafting, like doing extreme sports. And that's kind of something I wasn't doing back then, but now I try to do that as much as I can. Like even now I'm looking, going, hey, I could do this, I could do this like skiing, snowboarding, snow skiing, dog sledding. Where was I looking at? In Yellowstone in the winter. I'm just looking at that today. So I've become that, and that's the other side of me that I love doing is, sports that get my adrenaline going.
Right. Oh, good for you. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, kayaking is so good for you. That's awesome. I love it. Cool.
My problem is I don't have too many friends that like to do that or could do that. So I end up doing trips like with REI and Action Adventures and, just kind of going like, with people that know how to do it, because I would love to find like some people that will say, yeah, let's go kayaking, or let's go this, let's go that, let's go backpacking, but it's like, so I go on these trips, and it's funny that when I go there that everybody kind of eventually knows who I am, and they're like,
That's awesome. You still have your gym in Van Nuys? You still teaching? Or
I am not teaching. I was a partner on that, okay. And kind of I'm still a little bit affiliated, but not really. What I basically do now is I do seminars all around the world, and that's kind of where most of my teaching comes from.
Okay. Do you get, I assume still get young people, either boys or girls, come up to you and want to know, how they can be a martial artist, and what kind of advice do you usually impart?
Well, first of all, I tell everybody, anybody, could be and should study martial arts, but, little kids, one of the things that just, really, really makes my life going, yes, you've done a good thing, is like I did a seminar at the school the other day, and there was a girl that was ready to quit. I taught sword techniques, and it renewed her, and now she's enthusiastic about training and wants to learn more. And her parents came up to me and they said, we can't thank you enough, that you've encouraged her to start again. And I guess I tell kids is, don't give up, do your best, do 100% and take it, really serious, whether, you're just doing it to learn self-defense, or you want to become a action star, or you want to become a martial art instructor someday, it's all good. It's all good, but, you can't get discouraged, and you have to put 110% into your workout and love it. One of the things I do is when I teach seminars that I get a lot of kids excited about is that I say, my seminar is basically on warrior spirit. It's like conjuring up this spirit and this way of working out and putting your all into it, and then you'll become so much better than, if you were just there walking through the movements.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Cool. What I know you still want, you break into that A-list category, but are there a couple of things or particular stories or genres that you'd still like to be in?
Yeah, I would love to do a horror movie. Mm-hmm. I'd love to be like a vampire or a zombie or something like that. That's something I always wanted to do. And a comedy. I would love to do a comedy. That's like one of my favorite things. Like I'd love to do something like with Adam Sandler or Sasha Cohen, Darren Carson. What's his name? Sasha Cohen. Just something like that, because I love comedy, and I find that, I could be funny, I could deliver some comedy sometimes. So that's like two of the genres I haven't really tackled too much, that I would love to do.
Got it. Cool. Since you started, obviously, or unfortunately, rather, not obviously, the martial arts genre or just movies in general, there's not parity yet between male and female leads. Do you feel that's changed at all, or what are you hoping for moving forward?
I think it's changed a little bit. Back when I first started doing movies, it was totally unheard of, and for the longest time, I was always like the girlfriend or the partner of the guy, and then I would fight, and then he would come in and save me. And then it started going, wait a minute, Cynthia can sell this by herself, and then I became the lead in the movies, right? Then, it was the same thing in Hollywood, like, oh, women action stars don't sell, and then someone would come up with do a big movie, and it would go good, and then someone would do one and it would die. It's still not like it's still a male-dominant thing. Like when Stallone did The Expendables, I was like, where was I? I should have been in there. It was all guys, and I was the only female doing action at that time, and I was like, what the heck, And then the second one, he had a girl that didn't even do martial arts, and I was like, what the heck, So I still think it's still like that, that the males still get the dominant. It's a little bit better, but it's totally not like on that same line, and I don't know. Unfortunately, it may never be, but it is better, so that's a good thing.
Okay. I did ask Don this earlier today. Have you gotten into Stallone's ear about, hey, Expendables 4, come on now, you got to pick some of us up here?
I know, exactly. It's like, I actually met him a while ago, and we were supposed to do a movie together. We were supposed to do a movie called The Executioners, and it just never went, So, he knows me, so I was like, and then I heard they were doing The Expendables, and the writers actually contacted me, and they said, we put a part in with your name, and they said, would you teach us a little bit, because we don't know anything about martial arts. So I said, yeah, if you could put a word in for me. And then I guess my agent called, and then they said, no, we're only using A-listed names, and I was like, ugh. And then I almost did something with Adi Shankar. I met him, and he loved me, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to use you in my next picture. But, he was going to do an action female picture, but it hasn't, got off yet. So, it's a little bit here and there, but, I just got a new agent, have a new manager, and hopefully, because there's so much action on TV, I'm like, geez, I think I'm pretty good at the action, I think I look okay, and I think my acting has gotten a little better, so,
Well, we love you, the ones that ascribe to that genre, of course. It's just been great.
Yeah, and it's funny because if you think about it, those 80s movies, they're kind of funny, but they still hold, the fighting still holds, and you were doing movies for like shoestring budgets. You didn't have special effects, and all the stunts were real, and you still kept the interest of all these people,
Hopefully.
So if you can imagine if we did a movie now and we had like, $5 million budget, like what we could do, it could be incredible,
I know you've done some producing. Do you have any ambitions to write or direct?
No, I don't. Producing, yes, I would like to, but I've been trying to write my book for the past 17 years. Ever since I had my daughter, I was like, I'm going to write my book, and I start it, and I don't do it, and whatever. And so then I put it on a recording, and I thought, okay, someone else could do that. So I find that I'm not the writer. I would love to. There's a lot of things I see myself doing, but I'm probably not. And I think that directing, I'd like to be like choreographer for films. I could do that. That I'd love to do. But as far as directing, I think that's a little, no. I think I don't think that would be in my lifetime here.
Gotcha. What are some of the strangest things that people off the street will come up to you and say or ask? Do you remember anything?
Well, they always say I'm a lot smaller than I look on screen. That's the first thing they say, that they thought I was much taller and bigger. So I guess that's probably the strangest thing. And then everybody thinks I speak Chinese because, I've done 7 Chinese films and they were all dubbed in Cantonese. It's like, no, don't speak Chinese. So I guess that's it. But that's the funniest thing. Everybody always comes up to me. That's the first thing they say is, "Oh, we thought you were much taller."
It's the spirit that matters, not the height.
Yeah, that's right.
does anybody want to spar with you? They're like, hey, can we spar? I want to see if you're as tough as you appear on screen. Do people do that?
It has happened, not that often. I was in an airport once where someone wanted to challenge me to a fight, and then I know, and I was like, oh, and I get nervous because I'm like, I don't want to hit anybody because I don't want anybody suing me,
Sure.
And then one time, though, it was a funny story. We were doing a demonstration. My school was doing it, and it was in a disco. And some guy, he was having this little private party, and he's like, "Who would study from a woman?" And he's going blah 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 blah, And then he said, I want to fight you. And I played the old Chinese thing. I said, well, if you could get through my student, then you could get through me. And then we did the demonstration, and after his eyes bugged out of his head when he saw what I could do, and he sent a bottle of Dom Perignon over to our table.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Very cool. Very cool. Is there anything else you want to add about the martial arts kid, or what you got coming up next, or yourself in general?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, I have a Kickstarter program that's going to go. It's called The Amazing Shanghai Dragons, and it's basically going to be funded out of China. And it's pretty big budget, and it looks like hopefully we're going to get Sammo Hung in it. And I would love to get Yoon Kwei to direct it. So we're putting all that pieces together, and this will be the first time I will really be producing something. So I'm really excited about that. And the thing that, what I really love about it is, other than, I can call the shots, because a lot of times people will say, oh, okay, we're doing this movie and your action's going to be incredible. And I'm like, okay, I want to do the Hong Kong action. I want to do this. And then we get to my scene, and it's like, we got 20 minutes to shoot it.
Oh, no.
And the action doesn't come out like I want it. Well, this time it will, and I could get, the pieces of, who I want to do it, that I know that this is my dream film. But the thing that I like is that I'm finally going to be able to pay back all the people that ever used me in a film. I would totally put them in, because I find that a lot of times that doesn't happen in Hollywood, People don't hey, the favors. And I know one time, I was a stunt coordinator, and he was doing a TV series, and I had my daughter, so I was almost losing my SAG insurance. I needed to make $500 more, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, can you use me for stunts, anything? And he never called me back. And then I was doing this movie, and we were looking for a stunt coordinator. He was the first person to call. Oh, I'd love to do it. If he would have gave me that little $500 job, I would have so used him as a stunt coordinator, because I totally feel in returning the favor, So to me, I'm really excited that I could finally, hire people that have hired me, or that's meant to be able to, be a producer on this film.
Fabulous. Cool. I'm going to find all your social media stuff and start following you guys so that I can get the word out, as it were, and let you know when the article's up, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely do that. But my followers love to find out everything that's going on and when and where, and
Great.
For sure.
Cool. Well, it was such a great pleasure to talk to you again. It was such an honor when I got to meet you in person in California. So, and this is kind of well to get to talk to you again, Cynthia. I love it.
Well, good. Well, maybe I'm sure we will. Our paths will cross again sometime in the future.
I hope so. And as a martial artist myself, it's so cool to get to talk to people like you that inspired me.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Well, thanks again for taking the time and for letting me see the film. And, we'll look forward to seeing what you got next and hope to talk to you again.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Cynthia. Take care.
Okay.